Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Had Solo Leveling Powers in Konoha Part 2. Before we start, please go support Kira Uzumaki-1 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Naruto is a male in this story. Chapter 9. The blonde opened his eyes enormously. Now the percentage of passing this test was drastically reduced. From the little that he could observe, the skin of that huge bug looked hard, and his strength was not very high without chakra. Using an infallible resource, since ancient times it was a plan that never failed. My legs, what else do I want them for? He says nervously. The centipede began to eat the only living being, which was distracted. With a screech and surprising speed he set out to pursue his prey. Naruto, with his reflexes sharpened from years of training and agility, dodged and prepared to run. As he ran, the sand rose and new centipedes appeared, ready to taste him. Shit, the blonde cursed. 4 hours later, Uzumaki dodges a large body and falls on his back. When the bug was ready to return to devour its prey, everything stopped, as if someone had placed a pause. The blonde, panting, looked at the screen that appeared in front of him. You have completed the penalty mission. To think that something like a punishment would throw him into the jaws of death. At the same time, a premonitory fear took hold of him. Well, they had blocked something essential for a shinobi. If what just happened now is because of the daily mission, it means that all of this is not over yet. Surprised at first Naruto, he relaxed as he realized it wasn't another quest. The reward for completing the penalty mission has arrived. Do you want to check it? Yes or no? The blonde looked at that for a moment. Interested in the reward he received for overcoming the penalty. Being moved back to the hospital room, Naruto felt his strength being drained. So he fell asleep suddenly. A nurse came to observe the Uzumaki patient. She entered the room. It was expected to find the ninja awake since they were excited by any sound. However, she found the patient lying face down on the ground with sand around him. Oh no, why is he on the ground? I ask and shout. Please, I need help. Soon, a doctor arrived at the scene. What is the emergent? Why is the Uzumaki patient on the ground? He questions. I'm not sure, he was fine until last night. I found it like that right now, she replies. First let's put him to bed. 1-2. The two put Naruto on the bed. In the sudden movement, the medical record that was thrown onto the bed made a small cut on the back of the blonde's hand, but no one noticed. Now, let's see it, the doctor speaks. The doctor checked Naruto's condition, but found no abnormalities. What is this? He's just sleeping, he sighed in relief. The Hokage himself had requested special attention for this patient. They had been nervous for fear that something had happened to him. Let's let him rest. He seems to be in a deep sleep. After he spoke, the medical specialist began to leave when he noticed the sand in the room. Looks like we should clean this room a little. Ms. Yura, I'll leave it to you. Understood, doctor, the nurse signed. When the doctor left the room, the nurse also relaxed with relief. It was a good thing, nothing bad had happened. After all, there were no doctors or nurses who wanted to make their patient sick. Reassured, she began to figure out how to clean the room when she noticed something on the floor. It was a drop of blood. Oh god. The drop of blood had fallen from the patient's hand that was extending from the bed onto the floor. Surprised, she looked for a wound on Noro's hand and inspected him. She turning to the back of her hand. This is. She saw traces of fresh blood, but no scar. Wiping away the blood, her hand was completely clean. Was the court cured of her in an instant? With concern, the woman looked at Naruto's face. She seemed to be sleeping without a care in the world. Chapter 10. The daily mission has arrived. Naruto's eyes snapped open as he heard the voice of the system in his head. Sitting upright in bed, the first thing the blonde did was check the time. It was 4:30 in the afternoon. There was approximately 7 hours and 30 minutes of rest time until midnight. He opened the message box. Daily mission. Preparation to become powerful. Do 100 push-ups. Incomplete. 0-100. Do 100 sit-ups. Incomplete. 0-100. Do 100 squats. Incomplete. 0-100. Run 10 kilometers. Incomplete. 0-10. Notice, failing the daily mission will lead to a punishment mission. Seeing that it was the same as yesterday, knowing the consequences if he did not fulfill the daily mission. He stood up from the bed and looked at his clothes at the foot of the bed. His sister must have stopped by earlier to drop off her clothes. She went to the hospital reception. He approached the receptionist, who looked at it without much interest, turned a couple of pages in her folder and looked at the medical record. She knew very well why she was here. Mr. Uzumaki, at the moment you cannot leave, the woman speaks monotonously. For what is this? Naruto questions seriously. The Hokage has expressly asked that you stay a few days due to the mysterious circumstances of his mission. It is to confirm that there is nothing dangerous in his system. I understand, is it okay for me to do light exercise these days? She asks. No, I don't think you have problems, the woman responds. The receptionist turns her attention to the papers on her desk. Naruto leaves the hospital to run around. Boring days awaited them. Taking his time to do the corresponding exercises, the blonde took about 2 hours. He had decided to do the exercises relaxed and not hurried. Otherwise he would become like two clones dressed in green, crazy from training. His body trembled just thinking about it. He returned to his room greeting a few people. Everything was very normal, if no one had a voice and a screen in their head, was the blonde's thought. You have completed the daily mission. Preparation to become powerful. The reward for completing the quest has arrived. Do you want to check it? Yes or no? Yeah. You have received the following rewards. Reward 1. Status recovery. Reward 2. Status points +3. Reward 3. Random box X1. Accept all. Yes or no? Naruto's first thought after looking at the reward screen. But after thinking about it, he noticed some useful rewards that he was curious about. The first reward caught his attention. Having experienced the penalty involved in failing, he knew that there was a good chance that his rewards were real. Accept, he says. The moment he spoke the words to accept the reward, a subtle blue glow covered his body. Naruto could feel how his muscles, which were not very exhausted, recovered almost instantly. Like taking a soldier pill. He wasn't sure if it was something similar, but the powerful effect had left a big impression on Naruto. Turning his head towards the bed, he saw a small box and a status screen before his eyes. It must be the random box he mentioned. His attention was focused on the screen. There must be a window that displayed his abilities. Status points. Naruto wonders. They had to be useful for something, but how to know how to use them? Status screen. She speaks with doubt. Immediately, the system opened a window. The information box hanging in the air contained various pieces of information about his statistics. Name. Uzumaki Naruto. Level 1. Job. None. Fatigue. 0. Idle. None. HP. 114. MP. 65. State strength. 45. Constitution. 14. Agility. 42. Intelligence. 65. Sense. 36. Skills. Passive skills. Unknown max. LV. Inflexible spirit LVL. 1. Active skills. Sprint LVL. 1. His statistics surprised him. He seemed so weak. He had to become strong. He had very important things to strengthen himself. He looked at the screen in front of him. His eyes were focused on his abilities. The passive skills Unyielding Spirit and the active skill Sprint. They were strangely familiar. Now that I think about it, yesterday, he murmurs. Yesterday? More precisely, today's dawn. He remembered the messages he received while the centipedes were chasing him in the penalty zone. It was about the third hour of escaping the clutches of death. You have learned Sprint LVL. 1. You have learned Unyielding Spirit LVL. 1. He didn't pay attention at the time, his whole mind was focused on running, but now he was able to take a closer look. Sprint LVL. 1. Active skill mana cost. 5 + 1 minute. Activate it to increase your movement speed by 30%. It costs 1 mana per minute to maintain. Your run has strengthened your legs. Unyielding Spirit LVL. 1. Passive skill mana cost. 0. When below 30% HP, all damage taken is reduced by 50%. You have an inflexible spirit. So, because I ran like a damn madman, I learned these two skills. If his logic was right. This meant that repetitive actions that met certain criteria unlocked skills. Incredible, he exclaimed. The advantages of this were incalculable. Normally, the repertoire of skills that shinobi used were elemental affinities, and it was up to oneself to learn their repertoire of jutsus. Only shinobis of high esteem or belonging to a clan could have more than one elemental affinity. This is why these shinobi were so loved. Naruto's heart raced. A skill to increase his movement speed and a skill to reduce damage taken. They weren't exactly very special skills, as sprint was like when you focus chakra at your feet to increase your speed, but they were still useful skills, and they didn't waste chakra. And Unyielding Spirit doesn't even require any use of chakra. It seemed that mana referred to chakra. He would take full advantage of the system. This alone was a great blessing for Naruto. However, what is this ability? Unknown max. LV. Passive skill unknown took a line under his passive skills. As a passive skill, it should be something that activated automatically, but his information screen did not reveal any details. I have no idea what this is, he murmurs. There was nothing he could find or find out about this unknown ability. Realizing that his worries would get him nowhere, Naruto directed his attention to the other section of his status screen. State points. The statistics he received as a reward for the daily mission remained undistributed. 5 different attributes were in the statistics section. Being level 1, his overall points were quite high. But remembering everything he had experienced so far, he couldn't distribute the points to him carelessly. If assigning points really improved his skills, how could he make the decision lightly? Her expression hardened. The meaning behind strength is quite clear. Strength, constitution, agility. She understood the meaning behind these attributes quite easily. The problems were the intelligence and sense stats. The weathered and aloof system revealed no additional details to Naruto. Would he become smarter if he increased intelligence? Or more enthusiastic and sharp if he increased the sense? The blonde reasoned. In any case, those two attributes did not seem particularly useful to him at the moment. What he needed most was strength, mobility and durability. Greater strength would allow him to do many things easier. He was curious to know what kind of change his body would undergo when he increased his stats. As such, he selected the statistic that would likely result in the most noticeable change to his body. 3 points in strength. State, strength. 48. Constitution. 14. Agility. 42. Intelligence. 65. Sense. 36. Available status points. 0. Well, I hope you liked it. As you may know about Jinwoo, his statistics are low, but I did not consider it appropriate that Naruto, being a ninja and a jounin, had such low numbers. As always, constructive criticism and suggestions are welcome. Chapter 11. Naruto spent a few days training quietly, receiving visits from his grandfather and sister. Sometimes he went to see her mother, she was still just as still, it was painful to see her like that, but she would do her best, and when she woke up she would be proud of her sister and him. He looked at his state for a moment, indeed his strength increased quite a bit, leaving the others aside. State, strength. 69. Constitution. 14. Agility. 42. Intelligence. 10. Sense. 36. 18 times he increased his strength, but now that he considered it a little, it was not good to have so much strength and his other stats far behind him. Naruto investigated his inventory, looked for a moment at the key he had in his hands, it turned out that he had come out of one of the random boxes. Other times it was bandages, feathers and scrap metal. Uzumaki looked at the key through the system, still amazed at the benefits of whatever this is. He hadn't told anyone, not even Hikari or Sarutobi. Dungeon key rarity. Rank E. Type. Key. Key to access an instant dungeon. Usable in Ninja Academy 3rd floor. It was time to test this golden key, he asked permission to go out for a few hours. It was nice to walk around Konoha without seeing it through a window. At this time all students should be at lunch. When he arrived he went unnoticed, there was actually no one in the academy. There were no teachers in the hallways, so he was able to walk around the place calmly. The question was where and how to open that dungeon. He looked at the 3rd floor hallway, with a premonition he turned around and went down some steps. He took the key out of the inventory once again, using the threshold of the entrance, he placed the key as if it would fit into a lock. With a gentle current, a blue portal grew from the tip of the piece. Uzumaki hesitantly passed his hand, not feeling anything strange he crossed the substantial entrance. A soft ting sounded in his head and a prompt appeared. Warning, welcome to an instant dungeon. Please defeat the boss or use a return stone. Alert, your stats have gone down, you can't use chakra. Hey? Not impossible. Unbelieving, Uzumaki turns around, ready to leave the place. By resting a hand on the blue portal, he cannot pass through it. Remembering that he couldn't go out, he looks at the place, the academy seemed abandoned for many years. Incredibly, a professor passed by him without noticing his presence, the blonde watched as he passed through the portal without any difficulty. Naruto decided to look at his stats for a moment. Name? Uzumaki Naruto. Level 1. Job? None. Title? None. HP? 100. MP? 10. Fatigue? 0. State. Strength? 31. Constitution? 10. Agility? 10. Intelligence? 10. Sense? 10. Available status points? 0. If retreat was not an option, the only way was to advance. Naruto gulped as he slowly walked down the stairs towards the station. He held his breath and looked around him, but felt nothing. However, he couldn't relax, he did not allow himself to be careless. As if they were on their last legs, several of the ceiling lights turned on and off. Walking over the weeds that grew from broken tiles, Uzumaki looked around anxiously. I take out the katana from inventory. His surroundings were empty, but he felt something watching him. A strong stench of a rotting body came from somewhere. However, he was unable to discover its location. It was almost as if he was waiting to ambush prey. Naruto took advantage of that opportunity, if he was looking for an oversight he would give it to him. Leaving his back exposed. Predators tended to attack a prey's exposed back, they were no different from shinobi. It was after he took his third step, the windows of a clothing store shattered when something jumped out from inside. The moment he landed on the ground, he immediately jumped back towards the back of Naruto's neck with a loud roar. Having already anticipated the attack, Uzumaki responded to the creature's roar by swinging his sword as he turned around. The sharp katana caught the chin of the attacking beast as it swung through the air. As it fell, the beast screamed as it rolled on the ground. It was a big wolf with red fur. Who, having lost his entire snout, the wolf shook and turned on the ground in pain. When Naruto looked closer, he could see a name above the beast's head, similar to the centipedes of the penalty zone. Steel Teeth Lichen. However, unlike the centipedes whose name was in red, his current enemy's name was in white. But the beast writhing on the ground in pain, the opportunity to finish it off was now. Naruto decreased the distance between the two. He swung his sword as he reached the beast. His head was cleanly separated from his body. The lichen let out a death wail before passing away. Defeated Steeltooth Lichen. Good. But he didn't have time to celebrate. From the broken window, 2 more lichens who were hiding in the darkness came out. Oh, I had friends. Naruto's eyes widened. Baring his fearsome fangs, the beasts closed the gap between them and the blonde in an instant. Naruto frowned. In his eagerness to kill the first lichen, he had knocked down his sword with too much force, and now the katana was stuck in the ground. Shit, it stuck, he curses. As he struggled to draw the sword, one of the lichens lunged at his face. He quickly lowered his head to evade. The lichen who missed his head couldn't control his speed and crashed to the ground. The ground where his fangs struck cracked. I guess Steel Teeth isn't just a name. But there was no time to be impressed, the other lichen was approaching him. The katana didn't seem to come out. Having no other choice, he abandoned the katana and swung his fist at the lichen in the air. Making the wind howl, his fist moved through the air. Upon impact, the lichen's head exploded. The lichen's headless body hit the ceiling and then fell to the ground. Naruto looked at his fist in surprise. The destructive power of it was not something he had expected. The lichen who had missed his head was now looking at him in fear. He lowered his tail and the wolf began to back away. Was this the result of putting all of his points into strength? As he gaped at his fist, the lichen's headless body convulsed and then stopped moving. A familiar sound echoed in Naruto's head. You have defeated Steeltooth Lichen. You have leveled up. Have I leveled up? She questions herself. Making sure he hadn't heard wrong, Naruto quickly opened his status screen. Name: Uzumaki Naruto. Level 2. Job: none. Idle: none. HP: 205. MP: 22. Fatigue: 0. State: Strength: 32. Constitution: 11. Agility: 11. Intelligence: 11. Sense: 11. Available status points: 0. Skills: Passive skills: Unknown max: LV. Inflexible spirit LVL. 1. Active skills: Sprint LVL. 1. He had really leveled up. With this, all of his stats had increased by 1 point. Naruto realized that the mission rewards were not the only way to increase his attributes. It was evident that leveling up also increased them. To think I could level up, something that he had only thought almost impossible, was now a reality before him. His heart raced. And the total points I have earned is greater than the daily mission, he murmurs. The status points he received from quests were 3. The status points he gained from leveling up were 5. Although he could not freely distribute these 5 points, the total benefit of a level increase was much greater than the quest reward. And I leveled up after knocking down just 2 of them, he says happily. Naruto was currently at level 2. You could say that he was at the bottom of the barrel. But his level did not adequately reflect his strength. After all, his strength was already above 30. If it were treated as if one level was equivalent to 1 point of strength, the blonde already had the strength of someone above level 20. And when did you see a level 1 character hunt with the strength of a level 20? I think they call it chakra amplified strength. I haven't used it much. The destructive power of his punch was proof of his progress. I have increased the strength attribute, but I feel 3 times stronger than before, he thinks. Naruto's original strength stat was 45, which upon entering the instant dungeon dropped drastically to 31. What would happen if the value of his attributes decreased as they increased? That would explain that destructive power. On top of that, his movements had also become faster. If it were the old him, he couldn't have had much trouble dodging the beast's swift attacks or making the wind howl when he landed a punch. But with the condition of the dungeon, Naruto felt slightly vulnerable. It seemed that increasing the strength stat increased both his strength and his speed. His battle with the lichen was the proof. But what about the agility stat? If it weren't his mobility, what would he increase? Naruto knew that he couldn't satisfy his curiosity without more status points. He felt a little useless to use the mission reward points on agility. If he could increase both his power and his speed through the strength stat, why put points into agility? If that's the case, he thought of an answer. I will increase my level as quickly as possible. He would gain points in the agility attribute as he leveled up, accumulating small piles of dirt until he had a sizable hill. Surely the result of the increases in attributes would be noticed eventually. He remembered the lichen he had survived. The lichen he had been scared of had disappeared. Naruto looked around, but could find no trace of the beast. He looked like he had run away while Uzumaki was focused on his status screen. Approaching the fallen beast, he checked to see if it had anything of value. He seemed a little disappointed to just find the fangs. You have found a tusk. Item: lichen tooth. Item classes: none. Type: scrap. A large sharp fang of a lichen. You can keep it in your inventory or sell it in the store. There's even a store. I look at the pop-up screen, the name store at the top. Below were two options, buy or sell. Naruto looked interested in the first option. He orders. Alarm, your level is not high enough to buy from the store. I tried the sell option, no alarm or screen came up. The fang in his hands was raised in front of the screen. Another window appeared, this time allowing its use. Would you like to sell like in fang? Sell or cancel? Yes, he says. The fang in his hands glowed red for a moment, a screen popping up indicating his value. 20 gold. I can't say how much this is since it is not effective. The tooth disappeared from his hand, at the bottom of the sales list the fang appeared. She looked down the hall for the lichen in case he had returned. He ground his tongue in his mouth, disappointed at the loss of experience points. The blonde heard several roars and growls behind him. Where the hallway expanded almost infinitely, several lichens waited eagerly for a fight. As he walked down the hallway, Naruto gasped for a moment to catch his breath. He looked at the lichen bodies, a window appearing in his eyes. You have won the title. Wolf Killer, the title given to a hunter competent in fighting wolves. 40% experience increase against beasts. Oh, he's cracking, Naruto says surprised. Daichi's katana had cracks, looking at it he remembers the shinobi who abandoned him. He squeezes the handle and lets out a sigh, it wasn't worth remembering the man, he could have died by now, or they would never see each other again. Naruto looked at his inventory. 34 fangs, 2 worn daggers, traveler's clothing and a return stone. He took out the stone, it had a strange engraving, he supposed it was a seal of a reverse invocation. Should I use it? He asks. No, I have come too far with so many restrictions, if I go back I may not come back again. Returning the stone back to the inventory, Uzumaki proceeds through the halls of the academy. More beasts of different species came out to confront him, his size and ferocity reminded her of the Chunin exam of him. As he killed the beasts, he leveled up. Naruto studied the pattern of the monsters. The monkey from above, the cat from the sides and the jackals from the front or back. Nailing the katana to the monkey that appeared above, Naruto felt the presence of the cats, dodging a claw and cutting off both of their heads. Seeing how lichen came from in front he swung his weapon at him. His eyes glowed a cold blue. The heavy body of the beast fell cut in half. I shake the tool a little and remove the accumulated blood. He looked at the hallway stairs. I can no longer increase my level with these creatures, I must go after the boss. A chilling wind rose up the steps. Despite the fact that it exceeds my level and the clear disadvantage I have without my skills, everything is against me. Despite knowing that, Naruto descended the stairs, which seemed to last forever. He can affirm that they were not that long, despite not having returned after so many years, the dimension of the dungeon. There were 5 steps left to reach the lower floor, the blonde decided to look at his statistics one last time. Name? Uzumaki Naruto. Level? 15. Job? None. Idle? None. HP? 1105. MP? 200. Fatigue? 30. State? Strength? 45. Constitution? 24. Agility? 24. Intelligence? 24. Sense? 24. Available status points? 0. The agility was almost 25, after reaching an agility above 20, he was able to realize the difference between agility and strength. Instead of increasing physical speed, the increased agility caused his vision to speed up, making it appear as if enemies were slowing down. Like a slow-motion video. I go down the stairs completely, this time it's not a hallway. It was a large space, as if it had been expanded for the boss's room. It looked like a river or lake. To get a closer look, Naruto stepped forward. Suddenly, something large, like a giant log, shot out of the waters. It's fast. What reached him in the blink of an eye was not a log, but a giant snake. Hello, he greeted enthusiastically. Uzumaki hit the snake's head. His eyes widened. That? He exclaims alarmed. Although he was able to stop the direction of the snake coming towards him, he now stared at the broken sword in his hand. He quickly turned around. As if surprised by Naruto's attack, the snake coiled itself at a distance, staring at him with a piercing gaze. Swamp Ruler, Blue Poison Fanged Rasaka. Chapter 12. Swamp Ruler, Blue Poison Fanged Rasaka. His name in orange letters floated clearly above his head. Next to ordinary monsters that had a white name until now, the speed and durability of this thing were incomparably greater. Still, to think that a katana would break like that. Naruto gulped and analyzed Rasaka. The blue scales on his body were shining, these scales covered Rasaka from head to tail. The scales that couldn't be pierced by a katana. Naruto's fists probably won't work either. As he considered the futility of his situation, Rasaka, having determined that Uzumaki was prey, charged at him with explosive speed. As he focused with every ounce of his attention, Rasaka's blurred form began to clear in his eyes. This was the power of the agility stat. When Rasaka opened her jaws wide and attacked him, Naruto quickly twisted his body to dodge the attack. At the same time, he maneuvered himself behind the snake's head and grabbed it with both arms and squeezed. The blonde strength stat was close to 50. The terrifying power was being applied to the snake's arteries. Unable to escape his grasp, the snake thrashed and struggled in pain. Faced with the monster's resistance, Naruto gritted his teeth and strengthened his grip on it. Even when he was slammed against the floor and walls by the snake's movements, Naruto held on and didn't let go. If he hadn't leveled up before coming here, there was no end to the what-ifs in Naruto's mind. What if he hadn't reached his limit beforehand? What if he hadn't focused all his points on strength? It may have significantly hindered his ability to take down Risaka. This place would have been his grave. His judgment about waiting before going down to the floor was wise. But the sickening sound, Risaka's skull was crushed. You have defeated Swamp Ruler, Blue Poison Fang Risaka. You have leveled up. You have leveled up, as expected of a boss of these beasts. Defeating Risaka had granted him 2 levels. Naruto clenched his fists. Levels that seemed to stop at 15 shot up to 17. He started the day at level 1, he had gone on a rampage ever since. However, there was no one who hunted a boss just for experience points. When it comes to taking down a boss, the number one thing was tools. As he looked at the snake's sprawling body, Naruto saw 2 sources of light coming from its body. The blonde directed his hand to grab the objects. You have found Risaka's poison fang. Do you want to purchase it? You have found Risaka venom gland. Do you want to purchase it? Acquire everything. As he spoke, a dagger made of bones and a bag with some substance appeared in his outstretched hand. Risaka's poison fang. Rarity. C. Type. Dagger attack power plus 25. Inflicts paralysis and bleeding on attack. Paralysis. The target has a chance to fall immobilized. Bleed. A dagger made from Risaka's poison fang, still dripping with her venom. You can keep this item in your inventory. You can sell this item in the store. Naruto nodded as he read the item description. He looked at the bag next. Risaka poison gland. Rarity. A. Type. Elixir. Positive effect armored scales of Risaka when consumed. Physical damage decrease plus 20%. Negative effect weakened muscles when consuming. Strength 35. A bag containing Risaka's refined poison. Consuming it will give you permanently hardened skin, but the poison will also permanently damage your muscles. Rare Risaka material. You can keep this item in your inventory. Naruto's expression wavered between joy and disappointment. Risaka's poison fang was a good weapon to replace the broken steel katana. In addition to the fact that the attack power of the dagger was more than twice that of the sword, it even had special effects such as paralysis and bleeding. But the poison gland is a little, he murmurs. Initially excited about an A rank rarity item, he quickly realized that it was not such a good item after reading the description of it. Of course, reducing all physical damage by 20% was an effect worthy of an A ranked item. But the penalty of losing 35 strength points was too much. Especially when he considered the fact that he had focused all of his points on strength thus far. Although it was a katana, it was still an object that he did not want to throw away. Maybe one day, when his stats were so high that a 35-point reduction wouldn't hurt that much, he would use this item. For now, I'll put you in the inventory. But the disappointed expression, he stored the dagger and elixir in his inventory. If only an A-rank dagger and a C-rank elixir had come out instead. While he was contemplating the idea, he received a message. The boss was defeated, the dungeon will return to its old appearance. His surroundings became blurry. Naruto got a little dizzy as the world came back to him. The Ninja Academy returned to its original appearance. Apparently he had only gone down 1 floor. The plants of a jungle disappeared along with the swamp water. Naruto looked out the window. It was already night. He had to go back to the hospital. He didn't want his grandfather to send for him. It would be difficult to explain how he disappeared without a trace and appeared at the academy. He returned as quickly as he could to the hospital. The doctors went crazy when they saw him return full of blood. The blonde nervously apologized without knowing how to explain it. Well, you see, it's fake blood. I went to visit my sister and I played one of her pranks, he says awkwardly. How can she explain the destroyed clothes, asks a doctor. Shinobi training, he answers seriously. I won't tell you more. Everyone swallowed. Uzumaki knew there was no need to be rude, but how to explain everything? Would they understand or call him crazy? Naruto wasn't going to take any risks until he was sure. He went to his room. His sister left him a note along with a change of clothes. He complained that he should not go out doing any business and that he should stay away from any trouble. The blonde smiled at the irony of the letter. Chapter 13. 2 weeks later, nothing happened. Sarutobi asked him not to do any missions for the moment. Vacation was what the old Hokage called it. Naruto knew that he really didn't want to lose him or have the same thing happen as in the last mission. Unfortunately, he couldn't level up. The keys didn't appear again. The states hardly moved up a level. Except for strength, which increased to 95, agility increased to 68, senses to 62, constitution to 40, intelligence remained at 27. He still did not find use for the latter, so he did not increase it. Naruto prepared breakfast while he ruminated on memories from 2 weeks ago. It was really boring not having missions other than D rank. At first his pride was hurt. Well, a Jounin who was demoted to, for a cheap vacation excuse, carried out low-level missions, did not leave him at his best in front of his fellow shinobi. A whirlwind of red hair appeared down the hallway of the apartment. Today was Hikari's graduation, and she woke up super excited. She wanted her brother to be proud of her. Calm down, whirlwind, you'll do fine. Now sit down and have breakfast, she orders the blonde with a smile. But. No buts, miss, it's still too early to go take the exam, he scolded. Leaving breakfast on the table, Naruto had to force his sister to relax and eat slowly. Despite her attempts, her youngest couldn't help but move in her chair, anxious. As soon as they finished eating, Hikari got up to clean things up at a speed that would put her father to shame. Naruto could only shake his head and let out a sigh. In less than a minute, the girl insisted that her brother hurry up because he was as slow as a turtle. The blonde was purposely moving slowly to exasperate his little sister, but he hurried anyway. He remembered the day of her graduation, her mother did the same, and her father didn't say anything, she just warned him to let her mother do whatever she wanted and not to make her angry. As he walked, Naruto told his sister about his graduation day. They passed by Ichiraku Ramen. The Uzumaki had planned to celebrate the promotion of his sister at the ramen place. They greeted Tucci, the chef, and Am, the chef's daughter. Arriving at the academy, Naruto remembered the dungeon he entered. The ruler of the swamp, Risaka. He was a difficult creature to defeat, but the rewards from him were great. Naruto had used his new weapon. To say he was amazed was an understatement, he felt like an extension of his body. The daily quests continued to appear after 2 weeks, and the stat points did not appear again. It seemed like he knew that for the moment he had nothing to do. When Hikari arrived, she separated to look for her friends, Hinata, Ino and Sakura. She found the Hyuga with her stoic father, waiting since early. The last two looked everywhere in search of a jet. Hinata she shouted from afar. Hikari, how are you? Asks kindly. Well, good morning Mr. Hyuga, she bowed. Come, I want to introduce you to my brother. Good morning, Uzumaki, the Hyuga answers seriously. You can go, Hinata. The girls walked away from the serious man, both approached their friends, who accompanied them to meet the Uzumaki's brother. In all the years they went to the academy they did not meet him, so they were curious. Naruto, Hikari approaches. Naruto looked back at his sister, he could notice 3 more heads. A black hair, pink hair and pale blonde hair. Hikari told him about the curious colors of her friends, not to mention her own. The 3 girls were surprised by Hikari's brother. It was obvious that he was exercising under his clothes, his features were sharp and a terrifying aura surrounded him, his blue eyes shone dangerously. Each one presented themselves before the blonde, the bell rang for them to enter. The adults said goodbye to the girls, who entered excited to leave with a headband with the logo of their village on their heads. Several adults looked at him strangely, but the leaders of the most important clans came up to greet him. Uzumaki, I see that things have gone well for you with your sister, the Hyuga speaks. I say the same Hyuga, he returns respectfully. Oh, you are definitely Minato's puppy, a woman comments happily. You believe? In Yuzuka, she asks, genuinely curious. Yes, troublesome blonde, says a man with a ponytail. The loudest was Kushina, a blonde speaks. They were both a dynamic couple, a heavy man speaks. Nara, Yamanaka and Akimichi, what interesting contributions, the blonde says with amusement. You certainly don't look like Kushina's son, we were waiting for you with ultra energy, said Abiram. That's my sister, the Uzumaki clarified. They stayed talking about important things for a while, because even though Naruto did not take the official position of leader of the Uzumaki clan, he had to answer for it. The blonde trusted that his mother would wake up and take her place as leader. Naruto preferred a low profile. At a point of no return in the conversation, the leaders stepped aside to attend to their own matters. 2 hours later, the new shinobi stormed out of the academy, proudly displaying their ninja headband. Hikari threw herself into a hug, screaming like crazy. The blonde could notice that a child did not make it and a group sat next to him. They were orphans from the Kyuubi attack. They seemed discouraged. A white-haired sensei approached the boy. He pulled him aside to talk something privately. The boy became extremely happy. Uzumaki frowned. It wasn't normal for that to happen after the exam. He would be attentive for anything. Brother, I did it, Hikari shouts. Congratulations, Whirlwind, I have a surprise for you. I caressed the girl's head with a smile. What is it? That? She asks anxiously. Let's celebrate at Ichiraku Ramen, she reveals. Yahayu, the girl starts shouting. Bragging her brother to the restaurant, she starts naming the different ramen she would eat. The blonde just laughed at his sister's enthusiasm. It had been a long time since they had eaten ramen. Man, a big pork miso, she orders as soon as she enters. To the order, exclaims the old man enthusiastically. Another one for me, Tucci, Naruto asks. At night Naruto was on the terrace of the building. His sister was sleeping soundly in his room. A pop-up screen is before his eyes. Their break is over. He will be given an instant dungeon key. Please proceed to clear the dungeon. Alert, failing this quest will stop your heart in 0.02 seconds. Damn system, he mutters angrily. He extended his right hand in front of him. Materializing in the blonde's palm, a key fell. The screen below is giving you the information. Search, dungeon key rarity. Rank C. Type. Key. Key to access an instant dungeon. There is no particular location, can I open it anywhere? She wonders. Without having an answer, the blonde decides to deal with this dungeon as quickly as possible. He went to the forest, he made sure there was no one nearby. Between two trees, to simulate an entrance, he places the key. Soon the portal was created. When his body was halfway, he was pushed inside. Some curses sounded. Standing up, Naruto looked at the unwanted guests. Iruka, his sister's sensei, was in a combat position. Mizuki, another sensei of the ninja academy, cursed his co-workers. 3 shinobis with the blade diadem crossed out were clearly deserters. Where we are? Asks one of the deserting shinobi. We're in a dungeon, and we can't get out until we kill all the beasts here, Naruto answers. Turning around, everyone looks at the blonde. Iruka relaxes in Naruto's presence because this was a jounin, she could help him. However, he only received a dangerously glowing blue gaze. Naruto, Mizuki, and his companions wanted to steal the Hokage's scroll, he reports. I guess they were escaping and took me ahead of them, he lets out a sigh. In any case, now it doesn't matter if they are traitors, if they want us to get out of here, we should work together. Then we'll see what to do. Everyone was taken aback by the information given by the blonde shinobi. When they looked around they realized that they were in a cave, not in the Konoha forest. Someone, illuminate, he orders. Without completely deciding, a deserter complies with his request. Lots of tunnels, no creatures. All those who were not used to it were frozen before a dungeon. But the Mizuki begins. SHH, the blonde silences. Using his sensitive senses, thanks to the system. He discovered slimy paws approaching his position. Above he shouts. One of the deserters, by reflex, launched a fireball. Some bodies of ants fell, of incredible size, like a dog. More insects fell. The ninjas used their techniques to kill the wave of monsters. They can use chakra. However, I kicks the body of an ant. Alarm, you have entered the instant dungeon. You cannot leave the dungeon. Please defeat the boss or use a return stone. Alert, you cannot use chakra. He jokes, annoyed. I look at the other beings in the dungeon. Mizuki and his companions had good teamwork, they have fought together for some time. They are a little rough. And Iruka reacts well to the situation, but he has been without confrontations for a long time. Everyone is doing well, but this is frustrating. The blonde thinks. This might take a little time, so don't overexert yourself and pace yourself, Mizuki orders. Yeah, exclaims the shinobi who launched the fire at the beginning. The size of a dungeon varies, but not according to its rank. Depending on the circumstances, there are times when it takes weeks to analyze your insides or times when it only takes a few hours to reach the boss's site. This dungeon was made like a maze, so there isn't much fighting, but it does take a while to move around. An unexpected warning appeared in front of the Uzumaki. Be careful with the lizards. Naruto has a feeling, and one of the things he is sure of is. His bad feeling never lies. This is bad, Mizuki comments. It's been quite a while, but we still haven't found any monsters with intact limbs, there are only corpses and dying monsters from a while ago. But there should be a boss, right? Asks a deserter. Should we question Uzumaki? He demands. We will not return to the forest until we defeat the boss. We must work together. Iruka looks at him reproachfully. Even if we don't want to. Naruto, how can you order that? No, how dare you think about that? He questions. Imino, he claims. If we want to get out of here alive we must work as a team. Iruka swallows, he couldn't refute. Apparently the blonde knew very well where they were, he had experience, and the monsters did not scare him. Even, he seemed bored. Someone light up the place, the jounin orders. Holy crap, a deserter gasps. The place where they are has large thick cobwebs, wrapping monster corpses, some were cocoon. Naruto's expression changed. That's the boss's room, he warns. Get ready. They walk for a few minutes, enter a room illuminated by blue minerals. One of the deserters approaches to check the strange mineral. They are chakra conduction metals, he pronounces awkwardly. They are worth little in large villages, but in Tetsu no Kuni, Mizuki comments greedily. There is something we must take care of, Uzumaki speaks. Supported by thick columns of spiderweb, its creator remained inactive, suspended in air. Her long legs contracted to her exoskeleton, her 12 dark red eyes and thick pincers in her mouth. He's the boss of the dungeon, explains the blonde. Should we face this? Yumino asks excitedly. When Naruto turned around to give some directions, Mizuki and his companions approached from the exit of the room. What do you think they do? Iruka asks. Go look for tools to extract those minerals, they are very valuable, explains a deserter. They turn around quickly, and the fire lover started a small fire, the dungeon rumbled and shook, the stones fell away to cover the entrance. Those damn ones, Iruka growls angrily. They are the least problem, he points out to the boss. The giant spider, which had dark eyes, shone brightly red. Like a machine working. With a horrifying high pitch, I'll distract him, Naruto, think of a strategy, Iruka orders. Many eyes, horrible mouth, enormous eyes, long legs, and his strength is on another level. You wouldn't last more than 4 seconds, he lists, cheering the Yamino. He looks at the creature for a second, memories of his first unofficial dungeon flooding his memory. Other level. What nonsense, he boasts. Yamino, stay back. Walking with renewed confidence, Naruto orders Risaka's fang to materialize in his hand. Small rays formed in his palm, creating the blade of the dagger. This is mine. Wait, Naruto, what do you think you're doing? Asks the one with the cut face. Kill him. Are you going to kill that thing? Terrified, he asks. Yamino thought he was crazy. For Naruto, that's fine. If he can be a madman and he can protect his family from his enemies, he would be. The spider opens its mouth, showing sharp teeth and a long tongue. He let out a shrill screech and began to run towards the humans. Naruto prepared for the confrontation. Launching into extreme spins, he ran all over the arachnid's back. Without achieving any fatal wound, the spider let out another screech as it twitched in annoyance. Naruto fell to the ground and reversed the dagger into his palm. The house starts now, he says to himself. Naruto ran into a head-on collision with the spider. Iruka was pale, he was crazy, that monster was something almost like the Kyuubi no Yoko, and the blonde could face it without being terrified or retreating from the incredible overwhelming presence. Level 18. Job. None. Title. None. HP. 2220. MP. 350. Fatigue. 5. State. Strength. 140. Constitution. 53. Agility. 101. Intelligence. 27. Sense. 101. Available status points. 0. Chapter 14. The spider attacked with one of his legs. Naruto dodged it to get out of the way, attacking several times with his legs. Uzumaki dodged as soon as he touched the ground. The blonde took advantage of the proximity of one of the limbs and attacked with Risaka's fang. Naruto opened his eyes, his dagger seeming repelled by the spider's thick skin. Attacking with 2 of its legs, the spider looked at its enemy. The blonde analyzes his opponent. He had no blind spots and long legs that could pierce the ground or rocks. Each attack was threatening. Wow, what is this person, Yamino murmurs scared. Naruto attacked at several different points along the arachnid, appearing on the ground and releasing his breath. Iruka froze in place, unable to speak. Why did I have to end up in a place like that? He asks dramatically. Uzumaki wonders how long he was fighting the boss. 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes. The blonde's resistance dropped drastically and he still couldn't hurt him yet. Fatigue. 57. Why doesn't Naruto use chakra? Iruka wonders. But the special ability of the dagger, I will hurt this guy, the blonde speaks. Paralysis effect. The target has a chance to fall immobilized. Bleeding effect. The target will lose 1% health per second. Naruto was preparing to attack the boss's face. At the last second he opened his mouth and a fluorescent glow appeared in his throat. Naruto opened his eyes and managed to dodge it in time. The fluorescent green liquid touched the ground, it slowly began to melt, leaving a deep groove. Acid falls next to the Chunin. This guy is showing his hidden card. The blonde was running out of time to run if the situation continued like this. He can't play one bit against this guy. So speed. I have to close the distance with quick movements right now, Uzumaki thinks. His back leg was surrounded with an aura other than chakra. The little speed, he exclaims. The sprint activity was activated. Their movements increased by 30%. Closing the distance in a second, Naruto hit the boss's weak point, his face. A system alarm appeared on a pop-up screen, informing that the paralyze effect was activated. The paralyze effect was activated. The resistance of the target is very high. The effect was cancelled. As Naruto continuously attacked, the fatigue increased to 61. Uzumaki exhaled and inhaled air, he gritted his teeth, wanting to end the confrontation. He continued with the chained attacks of him. He's fast, but his stamina will be exhausted if he continues like this. What is he going to do? Iruka comments. Naruto exhaled again, dodging the spider's counterattack. He attacked his enemy's face, his fatigue reached 70, Uzumaki felt how his body felt heavy and tired. The spider attacked, the blonde without resistance received the blow with his arms crossed in a protective barrier, he was thrown to the ground. From the ground, Naruto watched as one of the spider's legs approached to end his life. Memories of the daily missions came to his mind, the status rewards. Status recovery, accept, says the blonde ninja. The thin leg reached the ground, but there was no longer any body. In the spider's eyes, a figure with blue eyes approached with his dagger raised. Naruto stuck his weapon in the boss's eye, who screamed in pain, pulling out the Risaka fang and attacking the same point again. The effect. Paralyze was activated. Uzumaki performed the same action once again, chained other attacks, the screen repeated again. The effect. Bleeding was activated. The effect. Paralyze was activated. Your enemy will lose 1% health every second. The blonde appeared again on the ground, orange blood came out of the spider, she fell defeated and never got up again. The dungeon boss has been killed. You have leveled up, you have leveled up, you have leveled up. Naruto sighed, relaxing from defeating the enemy, thankful he didn't use the status mission rewards. Iruka was trying to reason, because he thought that for a moment he had to face the spider alone. Why hasn't the dungeon disappeared? Is it because of them? Naruto wonders. An explosion occurs at the blocked entrance, the blonde turns around to see what was happening. A hidden boss. Is that why the dungeon didn't disappear? His response came. Hey Brad, where is the exit? Mizuki's voice echoes through the room, but none of the loyal shinobi said a word. Before he can continue speaking, he watches with his fellow missionaries as the huge spider was dead. The boss is dead and they are still alive, one murmurs. It's likely that he was the blonde, it seemed like he has experience in these places, Mizuki comments. What do we do now? Asks another randomly. Maybe the answer to getting out of here is by killing the blonde, answers the former sensei. Everyone gets into a fighting stance. It was easy to assume that Uzumaki would be exhausted from the battle with the arachnid. Iruka was following the train of thought, but that man just risked his life to kill that monster and save his life. Grabbing a kunai and several shurikens with his other hand, he stood in front of Naruto, ready to defend him at the cost of his life. Mizuki, what do we do? Asks the fire lover. Let's take care of the blonde. The enemies approached, some with kunai or katana in hand, others beginning some jutsu. An alert screen appeared in front of Naruto. An emergency search has appeared. Emergency quest. Kill your enemies. There are people with murderous intentions near the player. Get rid of them and ensure your safety. If this quest is not completed, a punishment will be issued as a result. Enemies killed required. 8 enemies killed. 0. What is this? The system right now. Uzumaki can't finish his sentence when he is hit by a fireball. He is pushed against the wall, becoming embedded. The screen in front of his eyes was erased for a moment. The attack was surprising and had a lot of chakra. The blonde almost lost consciousness. Naruto, Iruka shouts desperately. Why did I forget that? This place focuses on the existence of the fittest more than anywhere else. Those thoughts flood Naruto's head. Yes, my thinking was wrong until now. The system is what you need. A strong Uzumaki. Naruto. HP. 1360-2600. Uzumaki squeezes the stones as he stands up. Purple lightning bolts from his body and a manic smile appears on his face. Is this guy still alive? Asks a deserter. It's great, now it's clear, the system is using me and I use the system. Isamu, have your skills deteriorated? Asks a deserter. How embarrassing, he should be able to kill a tired shinobi, Mizuki comments. Isamu, you should have seriously done it. I think so too, he says nervously. Isamu had given him a fireball at his maximum power, how could he get up? Did I fail my goal? The ninja wondered. Naruto began to walk, his forehead had blood from the blow. You are playing with someone else's life, are you ready for the consequences? The blonde asks coldly. What is this bastard saying? A ninja asks cockily. If you are shinobi, I'm saying be ready to be hunted. Blue eyes shone. Small rays came out of the blonde, but no one paid them any attention. The faces of all the traitors darkened, one came forward self-centered. Although the blonde was a jounin, he had fought with a powerful enemy, the spider, and received a kaiten to the body. It was obvious that he was not at his maximum capacity. Sir, I'll take care of him, says the one who came forward. The confident ninja approaches the blonde and puts an arm around the Uzumaki's shoulders. It seems like you don't understand the situation very well. In Naruto's hands the dagger materializes, he places the weapon on the deserter's neck. With one clean movement the head of the intrepid ninja detaches from his body. Everyone gasps in surprise, because the action was surprising. One, he says with blood on his face and his eyes dangerously bright. Enemies killed. 1. What exclaims one. That bastard, when did he do it? Mizuki asks furiously. Where do I get the dagger? Name? Uzumaki Naruto. Level? 21. Job? None. Title? None. HP? 2600. MP? 391. Fatigue? 0. State? Strength? 143. Constitution? 56. Agility? 104. Intelligence? 30. Sense? 104. Available status points? 3. Naruto squeezes the handle of the dagger tightly. There was no need to escape and he had to become strong for his sister. He didn't want anyone else to betray him. Memories of the dungeon with the statues flood his head. A different aura overflows from the Uzumaki. No one said anything, everyone frozen. Iruka moves away from the blonde a little, the aura she had was dangerous. I don't know what he just did, but don't let your guard down, Mizuki orders. Isamu, hit him again. Isamu prepared the jutsu, his target was in front, but the attacked person disappeared from his sight instantly. Your jutsu is useless, the blonde speaks. He suddenly appeared in front of the ninja who was attacking him. The last thing Isamu can remember are the blue eyes of a predator. With elegant and quick movements he cuts the man into pieces. "This bastard," exclaimed two ninjas. They approach, each one wielding their own weapons, one holding two kunai in his hands and the other holding a katana high to cut the blonde in two. The katana falling first on the blonde, he dodges it and crosses his enemy's neck. The two kunai ninja launches a thrust, but Uzumaki dodges it and stabs Risaka's fang into the stomach. He was supposed to be exhausted, how can he move like that? A ninja attacks, my blows can't reach him, it's so fast. If you are shinobi then try hunting. Ninjas were made to hunt anyway, the blonde comments. With blue eyes shining, he hurts the enemy in front of him. Pop-up screens, paralyze and bleeding effects were activated. And my body doesn't move, the ninja shouts scared. Magic? This is magic? Asks another terrified. This son of a bitch curses a traitor. System screens beeped in the Uzumaki's head. The effect. Bleeding was activated. The effect. Paralyze was activated. The effect. Paralyze was activated. What is this guy's identity, asks a paralyzed ninja. The loyal shinobi shook the dagger a little, all the wounded fell dead to the ground with a dull sound. And in a flash all our members, Mizuki exclaims terrified. You bastard. Enemies killed required. 1. Enemies killed. 7. I didn't believe that all my members would be defeated. I will show you that we are not all the same. Mr. Orochimaru will reward me for killing the Yundame's son, says ambitious and furious Mizuki. The blonde hardened his face even more. Mizuki lunged forward, confident that Uzumaki would be exhausted by all the fast movements, preparing to run over the shinobi. He didn't wait for the next thing. Mizuki, you are a strong leader, but there is one thing you don't know. Naruto's hand tightened on the traitor's face and crushed him to the ground. I've been leveling up non-stop. Wait, don't kill me, he begs, scared. 3 times, the blonde enumerates. Are you asking for forgiveness from the person you tried to kill 3 times? That stop you, do you think you can get out of this? No one knows what happens in these dungeons. Bastard, he curses. The blonde, fed up with the shouting, kills Mizuki without mercy, his head falls to the ground. Naruto looked at his clothes covered in blood, he should buy new clothes. Haruka was frozen, he had spent a lot of time inside the village and forgot what it was like to kill, so he vomited a little. The dungeon shook, the objective had been accomplished. You have completed the dungeon, soon everything will return to its normal state again. Emergency quest rewards. Emergency quest. You have killed all enemies, all conditions have been met. Do you want to receive the reward? Quest rewards. Choose your rewards. 1 state recovery. 2 experience points plus 10. 3 skill bloodlust. Do you accept these rewards? Accept reject. Active. Bloodlust level 1. 100 mana. Use strong energy. The selected target will be in a state of fear for 1 minute. You can select several objectives. Effect. Fear, all the statuses of your targets are reduced by 50%. Just like the A-rank dungeon, the stage began to disappear. Naruto looked at Iruka, who looked everywhere expecting something out of the ordinary, but he calmed down when he saw the village forest. No, not a word about this, the blonde orders. But, he hesitates and soon changes to a more determined one. I won't say anything, it's the least I can do for the man who saved my life. Thank you, she softens her gaze and smiles a little. They both said goodbye and went to her house. Naruto arrived and let out a sigh, at least his sister was asleep on him. Tomorrow she would know from her genin team and test it. The next day, Hikari woke up excited, today she would be told who would be her teammates. When she got to the kitchen, she was surprised, her brother was not cooking. She went to her brother's room and found him sleeping spread out. She approached to wake him up, but as she walked she found the older man's clothes, they were full of blood. Could he have had a mission at night? She wonders. Well, it must be exhausted. I let him sleep. The Uzumaki leaves the blonde's room. She goes to the kitchen and prepares a simpler breakfast than her brother prepares. When she was about to leave, Naruto appears in the hallway, in his hand was an object. Hey, you're banned. Naruto asks with one eye open. Well, here it is, she touches his head, but it wasn't there. But I did have it. The youngest was about to panic because she had to arrive on time. Her brother approaches and puts his arms around her shoulders. God, how forgetful. Be thankful that you have a brother who had the same thing happen to him, she says with a smile. The soft, thick fabric of her headband rested on the forehead of her Redeed, who had tied her hair in a high ponytail and a few strands in front of her to mark her face. Naruto smiles at her and pats her shoulders affectionately. Come on, you must go. Hikari reacts and hugs her brother, who greets her back. She leaves the house waving her hand from afar. The blonde can't help but feel nostalgic, her sister grew up and she would soon become a woman. She would be powerful and she would have a partner and child. I won't allow it, he who dares, he must be able to defeat me to protect my girl, he affirms, possessed by demons. He yawned and went to sleep again, muttering incomprehensible things about killing future suitors. Several in the village trembled for no understandable reason. Hikari arrived at the academy, nervous. She was about to end a stage of her life, she would begin a new one with her teammates. Hinata was waiting for her at the door and greeted her when she saw her. "Hikari, you're on time," he looks behind her. I thought your brother would be with you." "Hey?" Apparently he had a mission last night and was tired, he barely got up to say goodbye to me. His smile becomes mischievous. "Why so interested in my brother? Do you like it? You know, I wouldn't mind having you as a sister-in-law." But what are you saying?" the Hyuga exclaims Red. Hikari starts laughing loudly. They walk through the hallways to get to her classroom. Upon entering, everyone was chatting excitedly and moving anxiously. Suddenly an earthquake hit the entire academy. Hikari and Hinata moved away from the door and went to their seats. "I first," Sakura and Ino exclaim. Starting a useless fight over who got there first and who gets to sit with Sasuke, Hikari shook her head. Soon there was a fight between all of Sasuke's fans to see who has the privilege of sitting with him. Iruka arrived and silenced the entire room. They soon settled down. The older shinobi let out a sigh, asking the gods for patience. He looked at the Uzumaki for a second. He bowed his head slightly, grateful to his brother. "Why did he thank you?" Hinata questions in a whisper. "Don't know. Good morning, students. Today you will know which team you will belong to for your future days as genins. I will start with Team 1," Iruka informs. Everyone became nervous to know who their companions would be. Most of the females who were named were crying for not being with their Sasuke. The unnamed ones had high hopes. Team 7, Haruno Sakura, Sasuke Uchiha was interrupted by a screech. "In your face, Ino pig," Haruno mocks. "Damn Frontuta," they begin to argue. "Silence, the last member is Uzumaki Hikari." Iruka reads the list in his hands. "It's my misfortune," Uzumaki complains. "A shame we're not together, Hikari," Hinata murmurs. "Team 8, Hyuga Hinata, Abiram Shino and Inuzuka Kiba. At least your team is good." "Hinata, let's exchange," Hikari begs. "No," the Hyuga answers. "Bad," the Redeed murmurs hurt. Team 9, Yamaka Ino, Akimichi Chouji and Nara Shikamaru. Time passed and the Jounin arrived for their teams. Soon only Team 7 was left in the room. 2 hours passed. Sakura was still asking for dates. Hikari was walking around the room and looking out the window, and Sasuke was just ignoring everyone, like always. The classroom door opened and a silver hair that defied gravity appeared. The genin glared at the Jounin. "My first impression of you, you're idiots," he says disinterested. "Go to the roof." Hikari is the first to come out, cursing his sensei. Sakura asked Sasuke if she wanted the two of them to go together. She only received an annoyed look, and the Uchiha left the room. When they arrived they found her sensei eating with perverted giggles. Hikari ground her teeth in annoyance. They sat down and finally the Jounin paid attention to them. "Well, they should introduce themselves so we can get to know each other better," she suggests. "Sensei, give us an example," Sakura asks. "My name is Hada Kakashi. The things I like and dislike I don't feel like telling you. I have never thought about my dream for the future," she introduces herself. "He only told us his name," Sakura murmurs. "Let's see, you." The Redeed points out the Jounin. "My name is Uzumaki Hikari. The things I like are spending time with my brother, visiting my mother in the hospital, being with Hinata and Raymond. The things that I dislike are when my brother goes on a mission, being alone and waiting for the ramen to be ready." She begins to hesitate a little. "My dream for the future. I had never thought about it, but if I had to say, it would be to be the most powerful kunoichi, so that my brother doesn't worry about me." "Well, that sounds interesting. Now you," she points out to Haruno. "My name is Haruno Sakura. The things I like, I mean the person I like is." She looks at her partner and squeals at him. "The things I dislike are Ino," she says grumpily. "And my dream for the future is to marry the person I like." "Nothing interesting," says Haddock. "Now you." "I am Uchiha Sasuke. There are many things that I dislike, few that I like in my dream. No, I will do it, kill a person," she says coldly. Haddock looked at her team. One was down to earth, another was lost in a platonic infatuation, and the only male was a potential deserter. "Well, we'll see you tomorrow at training field number 7 at 7 in the morning," she orders. "By the way, don't have breakfast." The genin separated each one on their own, or at least Hikari and Sasuke. Sakura followed the Uchiha to ask for a date. Hikari arrived at her home. Naruto was not in the apartment. He left a note on the table about going shopping, snorts under his breath, and goes to the bathroom to take a shower. "I hope it doesn't take long," the stomach growls. I'm hungry." Naruto had bought ingredients for dinner that night, as well as buying some dangos for his and his sister. When he arrived he placed everything in the refrigerator. Hikari left his room and ran to his brother. He climbed on top of his back. Naruto ignored him and began to prepare tea for his sister and sake for himself. "I brought dangos," he says. Yes celebrates on top of the other, choking him. "Hikari, my throat," the blonde complains. "Dangos, the youngest sings. The blonde brought the tray with the sweets to the couch, handing him the dangos while he opened the bottle of sake. Not that I'm complaining, but you tend to be very stingy with sweets. What it's so special? Hikari asks. Nothing special, consider it a gift for tomorrow, says the jounin. Hey? Why tomorrow? Just don't give it importance, Naruto dismisses. Naruto takes a sip of his drink, while his sister happily chews on his dangos. A screen emerges in front of the blonde's eyes. Alarm, the harmful substance has been detected. Buff. Cure the poison effect. 3-2-1 poison healing completed. A reward that the system gave me as soon as I woke up after the dungeon disaster, he murmurs under his breath. To think he gave me this as a reward. Quest reward, secret quest. Courage of the weak. Blessing of the great sorcerer Kandaru. The great sorcerer Kandaru has given you a special spell for you. Kandaru's blessing ensures that he is strong and healthy throughout the course of your life. Rehabilitated will temporary effect. Any dismembered body parts will be restored. Permanent longevity effect. All diseases, poisons, and status effects are cured, and sleeping will explosively increase regeneration capacity. Wait a minute, he says. Hikari wonders. I'm immune to all poisons, she thinks. Naruto gets up from the couch, and Hikari watches as her brother enters her room. Sometimes she thought her brother didn't take a break. If status effects are automatically healed, is this item's debuff too? She wonders, as the Rasaka poison bag appears in her hand. Rasaka poison gland, rarity. A. Type. Elixir. Positive effect, armored scales of Rasaka when consumed. Physical damage decrease plus 20%. Negative effect, weakened muscles when consuming. Strength 35. The bag containing Rasaka's refined poison. Consuming it will give you permanently hardened skin, but the poison will also permanently damage your muscles. Rare Rasaka material. You can keep this item in your inventory. There's no reason to think, she says as he swallows the poison. The harmful substance has been detected. 3-2-1 poison cure completed. Item. Effect of Rasaka poison, the weakened muscles are fading. It's just as I thought, he said satisfied. He leaves the room in comfortable clothes. His sister had finished the sweets. Where are you going? The minor questions. The train, she answers. At this time? If I don't do it there will be punishment. Naruto leaves the apartment. As soon as he leaves he begins the 10 kilometers race. Hikari sucks her index finger that was stained with dango sugar. He's getting weirder every day. Has something happened to him on a mission? She wonders. Chapter 15. The blonde was running distracted when suddenly a green spot appeared on the right side of him. Then another appeared on the left, and when he looked he let out an exhausting sigh. Uzumaki, I see that your flames of youth are burning brightly tonight, the man congratulates. Dai-sensei, says a younger voice. Lee Guy shouts with excitement. Dai-sensei. Read. Crazy to train, he murmurs. Without realizing it, the blonde accelerates, leaving behind the strange shinobi, who repeated their names with an image of a cliff where the waves broke in cheap music. Daily mission. Preparation to become powerful has arrived. Unread. Daily mission. Preparation to become powerful. Do 100 push-ups. Complete 100 100s. Do 100 sit-ups. Complete 100 100s. Do 100 squats. Complete 100 100s. Run 10 kilometers. Complete 11 tenths. Notice, failing the daily mission will lead to a penalty mission. Oh, I accidentally overreacted. To avoid seeing that horrible scene, Naruto trembles to even stay to watch. Why did this run continue to increase even when I already completed the goal? Uzumaki began stretching again, preparing to start again and beat the numbers. 20 minutes later, Naruto reached 200 without much effort. The sensei and student arrived at their meeting point when Guy was preparing to congratulate the flames of youth. The blonde took off running. Yoshli, let's catch up with this new rival, the teacher exclaims excitedly. Yes, Guy-sensei, he shouts excitedly. Shut up, you crazy people, shouts an old woman and throws a chair at them. Not wanting to suffer the fury of a woman, they both run in the direction of the blonde. After a few minutes he reached him. They stood next to him to jog at the same pace as the Uzumaki. Run 10 kilometers. Complete 10 20ths. It doesn't exceed 20, he comments to himself. The blonde stops, while the crazy people continued running, without stopping and shouting things about the flames of youth. So they didn't notice that Uzumaki abandoned them. A pop-up screen appeared in front of him with the rewards. You have completed the daily mission. Preparation to become powerful. The reward for completing the quest has arrived. Do you want to check it? Yes or no? Yeah. You have received the following rewards. Reward 1. Status recovery. Reward 2. Status points plus 3. Reward 3. Random blessed box select dot. Reward 3. Cursed random box select dot. Accept reject. Accept. Reward 3. Random blessed box authorizes the blonde. A red key materialized in Naruto's palm. He looked at the object through the system to know its characteristics. Item. Demon Castle key. Item class. S. Type. Key. The key with which you can enter the dungeon. Demon Castle. Can be used in the tower at Training Ground 44. After completing the objective twice as many times a secret quest appeared. Look at the key. I was hoping to receive a better reward than usual, but to think that I received an S-class item. This is a good chance, since I chose the blessed box I can't select the cursed one. Naruto heads to Training Ground 44. He did not have a good memory of this place, his Chunin exams were quite dangerous. He passed the protective cloth and began to run. In a short time he arrived at the tower. The moon was weakly covered by the clouds, so there was little lighting. Since I got the key, I have no choice but to go in, he says. The key opens another instant portal. The place changed completely, there were flames everywhere, and the village looked destroyed. The memory of the Kyuubi filled the Uzumaki's head. If the rarity of the key indicates the difficulty of it, Naruto's chances of surviving are zero, since the system screen alerted that his chakra was blocked. I have the return stone that I didn't use last time, so if things get dangerous I will use it immediately. The only thing I can do is give my best, they will soon send me on a mission. I must know my current strength, he expresses his thoughts. From inside the tower, a deformed body appeared. The flames were backlit, so it was not known what it was until it got closer to Naruto. A large and heavy body of a dog, with 3 heads, one of these had metal protection. Guardian of Hell Cerberus. The blonde's eyes shone, Risaka's fang appeared in his right hand. He had to become stronger to protect his family, and he can't lose his life here. The demon dog lunges with a great roar. Naruto jumped from his place and attacked the front paw. The wound is barely a superficial cut. Turning around, Uzumaki attacked again with chained cuts in several places, the head of the middle, left and right, finally, falling to the ground again in front of the creature. Alarm, idle. Wolf killer. Magnification effect was activated. Naruto let out a sigh and inhaled the air, activating the active skill. His body felt lighter than before. Alarm, the skill. Sprint. It was activated. Movement speed is increased by 30%. 1 mana will be consumed every minute. In an instant Naruto disappeared, numerous attacks were made. The blonde was so fast that it was almost impossible to see, only his silhouette was seen on countless occasions. Uzumaki finished his attack, leaving behind the monster. He decides to activate another available ability. Alarm, skill. Bloodlust. It was activated. The giant dog paused for a few moments, but they ignored the bloodlust. As if it were an invisible wall, they shook. Alarm, the enemy's resistance is too high, the effect was cancelled. Certainly the duel was challenging for Naruto, a good place to test his skills, but his attacks weren't working. Even with the help of the title, they didn't have much effect. The blonde put his maximum concentration on his enemy, who roared when he felt the challenge. Alarm, the guardian of Hell Cerberus. He is using the skill. Anger. Anger lasts approximately 3 minutes. Cerberus' states increase twice as much. Cerberus runs to his enemy to attack him. Naruto waits for him in his place. When the demon was close, the blonde jumps to fall into the dog's eye, a screen emerging on the side of the hand that held the weapon. Cerberus does not feel any pain. Naruto knew that the system showed him the gap between him and his enemy. The head on the left approaches and bites the blonde's arm, who, surprised, lets himself be thrown into the air. The Uzumaki's vitality began to drop rapidly. HP. 1290 3602 HP. 726 3600 seconds HP. 411 3600 seconds. Alarm, your life has been reduced to 30%. The skill. Perseverance. It was activated. Damage will be reduced by 50%. Even in an extreme situation, the system is helping as much as possible to make sure the player doesn't die. Because it would be troublesome if the player Uzumaki Naruto died. If Naruto was some kind of avatar of the system, all he had to do is exceed people's expectations. Devour the system. Reward 1. Cure condition, accepted. In the golden column, Naruto recovered and stopped Cerberus' bite. In one quick clean move he twists the head on the left, jumps towards the head in the middle to cut the eyes and land on top of the right. Ah, Naruto shouts. The heavy body of Cerberus falls heavy to the ground. Naruto looks at the body of the monster that almost killed him. Several screens emerge. Alarm, you have finished off the Hell Guardian Cerberus. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. Thanks to you, now I know what my level is. He thanks and looks at the doors. I'm going to die if I open the castle doors now. I'll come back when I get stronger. Next to the corpse, small colored columns shine. Naruto approaches to pick up the items that Cerberus left behind. Item. Guardian's necklace. Item class. A. Type. Necklace. Agility plus 20, sense plus 20. Item. Castle key. Item class. A. Type. Key. The key that allows you to open the castle door. Obtained by killing the guardian. Item. Cerberus fang. Item class. None. Type. Material. Fang that can be obtained by killing Cerberus. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown in left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.